Welcome back to another spill drop video. Just a few days after I reached 400 subscribers. That's so huge, and I am so excited to be able to make content that you all want to see. So without further ado, we're going to jump into this video here, which is an update video for my review of the weapon racks in Rust. This is a DLC, so it's not something that comes with the game by default, but you can purchase these weapon racks to add different functionalities to your base. They're basically deployable items that you can put inside your base or outside of it if you choose. The weapon rack is a great way to display the weapons that you have in your arsenal, as well as the various skins that you may have acquired over time, whether just by playing Rust or by buying skins from the store. The weapon rack also displays how much ammunition is in the gun. It doesn't display the attachments, but otherwise it's a great way to have an understanding of what guns you have available to you, as well as how much ammunition is preloaded in those guns. Alright, so right away I've got one right over here by this workbench. You could kind of see it through the window. This is the lower tier weapon rack. It's just a floor based model and it doesn't require any electrical input. I mean, none of them really do, but this just sits on the floor. It doesn't take up too much space. You can see it next to one of the small boxes here and even the workbench. We've got the same situation over here with a very consistent Thompson gun, so you can see just how well they all stack up next to each other. Some bolt action rifles there, as well as one of the wall mounted weapon racks. Now through here I've got a couple of weapon racks just kind of showcasing how you can space weapons out on them depending on the size. So you've got these sort of really long vertical format ones, these horizontal format like billboard type weapon racks. There's also sort of the added feature of being able to see glowing weapon skins on weapon racks, so you can identify before you leave your base even if it's a good idea to go out at night with the weapon that you're looking at. So you can kind of see that the weapons that don't have a glow effect to their skin are a little harder to see. The gold obviously reflects a ton of light, so it's a little easier to see. Alright, let's take it up here to the upper floor. One of the tricks with these weapon racks is that they can be placed on, not even necessarily vertical surfaces, but these like 45-degree angle roof tiles. In some cases, you can attach these weapon racks like I've done here. It's a little bit finicky, so you may have to play around with it, and it won't work in every case. I couldn't get one to stick up here for some reason, but right here it worked, so I don't know, go figure. But let's go ahead and get a look at some of the full spread of these weapon racks. Alright, so we've got the tall vertical one here. It also shows the condition of the weapons, which is really cool. So if you've got some that are kind of busted, it'll tell you. Above this vertical format one, we've got the roughly square format weapon rack there. It's probably my favorite of the formats just because it fits in a lot of spaces. It's very user-friendly. A couple of the billboard ones here, so you can kind of see how they stack up against a vertical wall. I've also got some aesthetic interior design elements in here at play. So these are all half walls on this main wall right here. I have the hard side brick on the very bottom half wall here. There's a rug on it showing you the kind of tile, but that's just a visual trick that I enjoy. But you can see that the more ornate hard side wall for this brick texture does kind of push through the weapon rack, and it kind of creates this division in the board itself. But this is all one weapon rack. You can see that, there's items that can kind of hover in between. That might be a cool way visually to hide weapons that you don't want people to see. It's a very limited use case. I just thought it kind of looked cool in this situation. I've got some of these small weapon racks here just kind of squeezed in where they fit. As you can see, since they're so small, they fit quite easily into these little narrow slots here and right over here. So very kind of handy to have those when you just need something to fill up a little bit of empty space. All right, now let's go up to the roof. So one of the things that you've seen here, obviously, but we haven't talked too much about yet, is the electrical components for these weapon racks. So they obviously have that light or lights at the top. So that means that they definitely require energy. Now you can see the wiring plan here kind of lit up for this board, and in order to show you kind of exactly how much electricity these weapon racks use, I figured I would put some counters on here so you can actually see the input and output. So coming off of this battery, we've got 15 rust watts per minute. There's 14 rust watts per minute coming off of this switch. That goes into this counter, which uses an additional rust watt per minute, dropping it down to 13. This weapon rack uses 1 rust watt per minute, which outputs to this counter here, which gets 12 rust watts per minute from this weapon rack. So that gives you an idea. It's literally just using 1 rust watt per minute between these two counters. So it's a very efficient way to light up your base using just 1 rust watt per minute for, I mean, quite a decent amount of ambient light. You could see just from down in here how much extra light these rooms have because of these weapon racks. So definitely a great way to add some ambiance to your base in that sense, as well as provide a little bit of ease of navigation. But while you can store quite a large number of weapons on these racks, as I've shown below, a large concern is how durable is this weapon rack going to be, and what does it cost to make these? So looking at the construction costs for the horizontal weapon rack, which is what I consider to be the roughly square weapon rack. It's 100 wood, 120 metal fragments. The tall vertical format is going to be 100 wood, 175 metal fragments. Same for the wide, like billboard style weapon rack. The weapon rack stand, that's like the floor-based model with no lights, is 200 wood, 75 metal fragments. So all relatively cheap. Definitely not things that you would be putting in your base before you had, you know, say doors. But as you move through your wipe, maybe once you get to tier 2, these are things you're going to start thinking about wanting to have in your base just for ease of access. Once you start getting, you know, too many weapons for the boxes, it can be nice to have a good way to display them, as well as that ease of access in a pinch situation where you rekit immediately and need to know how durable the weapon is that you're using and how much ammo is in it at a glance. Now, for the durability aspect of this weapon rack, we can go ahead and take a look at this one and see exactly what the durability is going to look like for it. These things are not super strong. As you can see, one bone knife is already doing quite a lot of damage to it, and it's pretty easy to melee chop these things down. And these weapon racks are not much more durable against guns, as you'll see here. So, I mean, that was just over 1 mag from an AR. That's not super duper strong. In a pinch, it would be a decent thing to toss up over, you know, say a gap like this one here. If, you know, you're taking a lot of fire and you just need a little bit of protection just for a moment. This might be enough to get you back up and to full health, but definitely not a, you know, primary solution for defense. Another pretty interesting thing that's not widely discussed about these weapon racks is that they allow you to reload weapons while they are on the rack. For example, if you hold E while you're looking at a weapon, you've got some options here. You can take the weapon, which is usually what happens when you hit E while looking at it. You can swap for the current weapon in your hand. You can take all of the weapons from the board, which I've definitely done a couple of times and is very annoying. You can unload the ammo from whatever gun it is you're looking at. And then you can load the various different sorts, different types of 5.56 for this rifle that are available in the game. So if I wanted to, say, preload it with some HV because it's a, you know, long-range bolt-action rifle, just do that. It is now loaded with 5 rounds of HV high-velocity ammo, and you can see that there. This M249 is preloaded with just 15 rounds of 5.56. But if I wanted to, say, take this rating, I'd want to preload it with some Explo, so that way I get just the most bang for my buck. Beautiful. And there you can see 98 out of 100 rounds. I must be a little shy on the remainder. It looks like I'm fresh out. So that kind of shows you how that works. Same obviously for the shotguns, but you can unload them, load them up, and it's a pretty quick little time frame there. Let's see exactly how long is it. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. That's about 3 seconds. You can do it with spear gun as well, which is kind of goofy. You do have to hold E while you're doing it, because if you don't, then it will not load that thing. And you can see here it's a lot faster for things like the compound bow. You can't reload the flamethrower, it would seem, but that kind of makes sense because it doesn't really have ammo in that sense. Crossbow's a little slow to reload compared to this bow. Let's take a look at these guys. Okay. Huh. What? Yeah, so apparently you can reload snowball guns with 5.5, so if you have it, you might as well. But, yeah, I mean, if you have trouble just reloading the old-fashioned way, it's too slow for you or too inconvenient, then there is obviously this option to just reload using a weapon rack. I think it would be kind of cool if you could stack up, say, like 15 weapons on here and reload them all with that specific ammo if you've got, say, a whole inventory of it like this. But, that's just me, so I don't know if that would necessarily help anything, but maybe it would. But I think that's all that I've got for you today. I just wanted to show you again how these weapon racks have changed since I made the original video, what they've added to them, what my thoughts are on the weapon racks. Personally, I don't use them very often, but when I do, I think that they're a lovely addition to a base. They add a lot of nice ambient light, as you can see. I would say if you're on the fence about purchasing the weapon racks for yourself, you probably don't need to worry about them, but if you find that they just look so cool and you always wanted that arsenal feeling in your base, then I think it's probably worth. I got it just because I, really wanted to see it, and I like supporting Face Punch and what they do with Rust, so for me it was a no-brainer. But you've seen what it looks like, you've seen the energy requirements for it, not that complex. You've seen the storage capacity of these, the different functions, so you can make those decisions on your own. But if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you have any questions or if there's anything else I can go over about this weapon rack or any of the other DLCs. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, you should subscribe because I'm going to keep making videos. 400 subscriber video is coming out here soon, so stay tuned for that. It is on its way. Thanks again for watching. I'm Spilldrop, and I will catch you in the next video.